So this question is from Ben in Oregon in the USA. It's about getting it and losing it. Ben describes how he had an experience of awakening or recognizing the oneness of his true nature that lasted some time, and then after some hours it seemed to pass. Thoughts came back in, emotions. Suddenly everything wasn't so peaceful anymore. And Ben asks how to get back there. And perhaps a lot of other people can relate to that. It seems that often these experiences of recognition, or even awakening experiences, if we call it that, are more of a curse than anything else. Because when we have a temporary experience or a glimpse, then our thought comes in saying, I've got it. This is it. And can start to tell a story even about how I'm now special, or I've now arrived. I have found what I've been looking for. It can build up the drama of it somehow, even subtly. You may not even have noticed how it seems to have come to a conclusion about my personal state. And this can happen in a split second. And then when the experience changes, as every experience does, it's bound to change, then thought comes in saying, oh, I've lost it. I need to do everything I can to get back there, because that experience was it. And of course, obviously, the ordinary, slightly uncomfortable or a bit boring or painful, ordinary familiar experience is obviously not it, according to our thoughts. The confusion here is thinking that this knowing of who you really are, this recognition of oneness, wholeness, peace, openness, whatever we call it, that it is something to do with some kind of experience. Knowing who you are is not an experience. Who you are is not an experience of any kind. It can't be experienced. But the confusion is that when you recognize that first, there can be a very nice experience in contrast to your experience before that recognition. And because of that contrast in that temporary experience, the confusion is that somehow it's about the experience and not what is recognized in that moment. Because all the thinking can do is grasp hold of the experience itself and tell a story about me and my experience. Because the thinking cannot know what has been recognized. It cannot be understood. It cannot be boxed up into any concept or an idea. In the moment of recognition, there is no me. It's seen that there's no one here to recognize anything, actually. It's just this happening. And perhaps in that experience, the thinking is seen for what it is, that it's just thought and actually doesn't mean anything. But of course, because it comes back in and tells the story about how special that experience is to me or about me, that's where the misconceptions start. And that's where the longing to get back there starts. And that longing, that trying, that searching to get back to that original experience is incredibly painful. And it means then we go on this big search and we start making lots of effort to reproduce that experience. But the experience is gone and it'll never come back. Experiences come and go. Every experience is temporary. And even if there's a similar experience, it'll never be exactly like it was. And while we're trying to chase that exact experience, we're overlooking what is right now. We're overlooking how actually the way it is right now, including thoughts or emotions or anything that might be happening right now, that actually this is known in what has been recognized. The experience may have changed. It may not be such a wow kind of experience. It may not be an experience where there's a contrasting relief being experienced. It may just be ordinary human stuff. And yet there can be a knowing of it. And that knowing isn't an experience of some kind of distancing or witnessing. It's not any particular experience. It doesn't affect the experience. It doesn't need to. The experience can go on in a completely ordinary way. But there is a knowing that I am aware of it. I am not what my thoughts say I am. Somehow, once it's been recognized, life is generally taken a little bit more lightly. It doesn't mean that the experience suddenly is all peaceful and wonderful and always walking around floating on a cloud, experiencing oneness. And yet there can be a subtle knowing that it is all kind of like it's not really happening. It's all seen somehow. It may not fit into your ideas about how it should be now that I have recognized. But those ideas just create more trouble. Rather throw them out. Because what you've recognized is absolutely nothing. You have nothing to show for it. You don't get any certificate. There's no proof that now you've got it. There's nothing that the thinking can say, can hold on to say, this is it. Because every experience comes and goes. There's nothing permanent in the play of experience. And this can be frustrating for the thinking. It longs to grasp hold of something and to come to some kind of conclusion. But this is not known in thinking. This is known in a way that can't be understood. And once it's recognized, it can't be unrecognized. But perhaps the thinking needs to go on a little bit of a journey of trying to pin it down, trying to understand it, and discovering again and again that it can't be pinned down or understood, that it's not an experience that I can get or hold on to. In a way, you have to get it and lose it, and get it and lose it. I mean, of course, you never really get it or lose it, but you have to, the thinking has to see that whatever I think I've got is just a temporary experience. So of course I'm bound to lose it. So perhaps you need to go on this journey for a while, getting it and losing it and trying to find it again and feeling the pain of that. To know for yourself that it's nothing to do with any kind of experience that could be got or lost. Who you are can't be got, and it can't be lost. And actually that is the greatest relief, that it doesn't need to be an experience to be maintained. There's nothing for you to do about it, because it is already who you are. Okay, thank you.